Welcome to Brake Check. I'm Craig.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're driving a
Mustang Mach 1 with a Tremec 6-speed.
No. Mustang Mach 1, yes.
Yes.
10-speed auto.
No.
Yeah. It is special to this Mach 1.
It is. It is. It does have a different torque converter and it does have different programming, and we'll get into all that in the dynamics part. Yeah. But overall, let's start with exterior.
Let's just talk about the exterior first. So some of the unique things to the Mach 1, because we've reviewed the S550 before.
We have.
This is basically another one of those.
Check out the links below. We've got more of that stuff.
We're getting to the end of the S550's life.
We are.
So we get another
2 years, we'll see.
That means we get another special edition, and that's what this is.
That's what this is. And it's a bit of a part spin special.
So one thing we haven't got in the S550 is the Boss 302, right?
We have not. No.
Well, you have here.
According to Ford. Well, not here. Not this one.
True.
But if you get the handling package, that's effectively the S550 generation of Boss 302.
Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting. But let's just talk exterior, and let's also get out of the way that the spec of this is not the way we would order it for ourselves.
No.
And you put it best earlier that it's kind of the old man spec.
It's kind of the old man spec. Yeah.
No handling package. In fact, the only three options on this car are navigation, which nobody uses.
Nope.
And there's no benefit because you already have the touchscreen with this car.
Yep.
And the 10-speed auto, which we'll talk about that later.
Yep.
More credit due there than I want to give it. And the most important option available on a Mach 1, red brake calipers.
Red brake calipers, yes. So we do get the badging. We get the Mach 1 badging.
We
the
do?
retro from the 1969 Mach 1, the original. We get it here. We get it up front. I think we get it on the back. And then
we do, on the deck lid panel.
And then in the interior on the
there's
dash.
A plaque on the dash, yep.
So we also get it, I think, in the strut tower brace.
We do, and we also get stickers.
And you don't get any Ford logos.
No Ford logos.
You do get some Mustang ponies.
You get ponies. Mustang's been getting away from the Ford.
They have for a while.
Right,
yeah. Don't like the stripe.
Look, I don't hate it. I'm not crazy about it though. And to be totally honest with you, if the thing were new enough, if I bought it a year old or brand new, I would probably take it off.
Yeah.
And because I think it would look cleaner.
Yeah.
It does look more retro, and I think there's a buyer that will really want that.
So yeah,
it's just not really pointing towards us.
So this does not have the handling package, which means you get these little more controversial, but more retro, I think, fits the Mach 1 name style better.
It captures retro better.
With this stripe, these wheels, the stripe on the side, it does look it almost makes it look like a little bit different car, like the original 69.
It kind of has the, let's go to a Cars and Coffee for old guys.
Yes.
And capture retro and own retro. It's going to be retro.
Yeah.
They've got the retro wheels.
Yeah.
I would change the wheels preferably.
Yeah.
But I don't hate the tire size. This is effectively the wheel and tire size of a Performance Pack 1 GT, which is kind of the sweet spot. If you go to 305s on the handling package, you get some tram lining on the highway and more road noise and things like that.
So, and some tires that are really sticky but don't last a long time.
Very expensive. Yeah.
Very expensive.
These are kind of more livable. So.
Functional hood scoop?
No. Functional hood scoop?
Yes.
Okay, we're halfway there. And that's because of the open element cold air intake on this. They don't want rainwater dropping straight on top of it. Fair enough. So let's just drive it. Really, that's what people want to see? Let's drive it.
Let's get in this.
Let's do the thing. Something this car does have, Craig.
I wouldn't use that here.
How are we going to?
It's going to be a pretty good burnout.
That's fine.
Right.
This is called line lock.
Okay, there you go. Release the brake. Just go. So we're just doing a nice burnout right now. It even shows you in the instrument panel.
It shows the wheel spinning.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So now the tires are clean.
Yeah, we're ready to go now.
Yes. There we go. Now we're ready to go. I feel like with the drag strip all of a sudden. This is really weird. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to drag mode.
Drag mode, because that's what we need to start.
We're going to do a 0-60 run. You ready? I'm going to use the drag tree that's in.
Oh, the drag tree. Okay, all right.
Ready?
I'm ready. Oh, yeah, start it. Hit it!
Ooh, baby!
Okay.
All right, 4.8.
4.8's not bad.
It's not bad for an unprepped surface.
Our best time is 4.6.
That was a few days ago, yeah.
So,
not bad.
Not bad for the first few times we played with it.
We know on a prep surface, motor trend is seen under 4 seconds with a Track Pack
GT.
GT.
Right.
This has 20 horsepower more than that.
Yep.
So I suspect it's in the neighborhood of 3.9, give or take.
Right.
On an actual surface, not a slick, moist road that we're on right now.
That's true. It has been raining a lot where we're at, and the roads are wet-ish.
Yeah. Brake check. It has Magnetride dampers, which means you put it in normal mode, and it just feels like, I keep saying this, it feels like what a Thunderbird might be if it was made today. A luxurious, comfortable, quiet. The exhaust is also valved, it gets quiet. Smooth thing to drive around.
It soaks up the bumps really well.
Yes.
For what it is.
Especially for what it is. And then you go into my favorite mode, which is Sport Plus.
Well, hang on, before you get to Sport Plus, there's a sport mode. The only way you can get in the sport mode is to actually put the shifter into sport.
Into sport.
That's just sport, not Sport Plus.
And all that does is change shift mapping. It doesn't change damping.
Right.
Or
Sport
exhaust.
Plus is a little different. So to get the Sport Plus is actually a mode toggle.
You use a toggle. And I think that's the sweet spot for you and I daily driving.
Yeah.
Because throttle is a little bit sharper.
I disagree on daily driving.
Okay.
When I drove just to work and I wasn't trying to be a maniac.
Right.
Normal is where it's at. Okay.
Okay.
With the loud track exhaust.
Which you can use pony mode, and you can control the exhaust loudness.
But when I wanted the boogie, Sport Plus is magic. And don't even use the paddle shifters, just let it do it.
Just let it do it.
Yeah. I call it time machine mode.
Please explain to the people what you mean.
What this car is a time machine. So in both ways, it goes to the future, it goes to the past.
Okay.
With this Mach 1 1969 throwback
with
styling.
the heritage.
Okay, that's how it goes back.
Right.
It goes forward in time, it speeds time up. Well, because it handles sneakily good.
It does.
So when I'm on the back road blitzing it, all of a sudden you look down and you're carrying a little more speed than you realize because the car can just handle it.
You've made up time.
You've made up time.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're home sooner than you thought, and you're like, oh, wow. Huh.
So this car is good for your health, is what you're saying.
And your family.
It brings more time to your family.
Exactly.
Right. This car has a lot of tidbits from other cars.
Yeah, please, dive into that because you called it a parts bin car.
It is a parts bin special.
You don't mean that as a bad thing.
No. In fact, I love parts bin cars, and Ford has been doing this for years. Ford's not the only one. But the end of the Mustang's life cycle,
right?
Generally, it started with the S197, the 05 to 09. They start adding all these good parts from other higher end trims to what is effectively a GT.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this has not only the rear toe links from a GT500 and the diff cooler from a GT500, the big boy. It also has the entire rear subframe from a GT500. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
If you wanted that on a GT, that's a very expensive endeavor to do on your own.
Right.
So that alone, if you're looking for that stiffness, and by the way, it does handle better than a regular GT.
It does.
And I've recently done a track day with the GT500 with Ford, and I keep being reminded that this is similar to that. And its turn-in, as well as when you're in sport mode and track mode. Granted, this is not the Tremec dual clutch that is amazing in the Shelby. Its shift logic is not that far off.
Right.
Okay. You also get the 6-pot brakes from the Performance Pack GT. You also get tons of aero underneath it from the GT350.
Yep.
If you were to get the manual, which I think is the sweet spot for this car, you get the Tremec out of the GT350 instead of the MT82 transmission.
Which is really special.
Right, and a lot of GTs struggle with the MT82 being with longevity and all kinds of other issues.
Look, and I, as someone who's not as much of a pony car, muscle car person as you, one of the reasons I don't like them is because they're not as refined. That Tremec feels like a refined place to be.
Yeah,
and
it's good.
It is.
It really is. So, for those that are foolish enough to, prefer the automatic and don't want to enjoy the Tremec for all of its greatness.
Let's be honest, we were both a little upset when we got this and we realized it was the automatic.
Yeah, it's not our favorite spec.
But I told you don't sleep on it, and what are your thoughts?
I've come around on it. So when I first started driving it, I felt, man, why isn't this as sharp and crisp as a ZF 8-speed that you have in everything these days?
Sure.
Ford went their own way, like GM, and did a 10-speed. At lower speeds, when you're trying to downshift with paddles, it kind of trips on itself.
Yeah.
It's kind of clumsy, and it doesn't lock the torque converter up and feel crisp. And that's where a DSG feels good and a ZF 8-speed does.
Sure.
But everywhere else, and especially on the upshifts, it rapid fires so good.
Right. It's going to make it eat. Look, you want to do the stoplight to stoplight racing this thing,
You're gonna beat everybody.
you're gonna look like a hero in this because the automatic's it's really good at that. That's what it's good at.
You can't screw it up.
People are taking this to the tracks or the drag strips, and what are they doing?
Oh, they're running. Look, this thing's rated in the 12s.
Yeah.
People are taking these on a prepped surface with factory tires. They're cracking 11 second quarter miles.
And that automatic makes that happen.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing about the automatic. Sure, it's not as crisp as some of those others you're talking about, but again, back to that magic time machine mode, otherwise known as Sport Plus.
Right.
And you don't mess with the flappy paddles, it puts you in the gear you want. It's not PDK like, but it's pretty good. It's it's half as much as anything with a PDK.
Well, that's true. And also, when you're in sport mode and track mode and you need the engine brake, it does that for you.
And that's where this is the Boss 302 of today. So
right.
It handles. This is the show car. You can go take it to the Cars and Coffee like we talked about earlier.
Sure, it's got enough tidbits to be special.
But you can also track this sucker.
And that's really the takeaway on the Mach 1, I think.
Yeah.
Because I got into this car thinking, oh, it's a 10-speed auto with a Coyote. It's going to be a great drag car.
Yeah.
Which it can do that too.
Sure.
But Ford really made this a good track car, not a drag car.
Absolutely.
And the way we can tell is it has more Shelby bits. It has a 350 oil cooler. Mm-hmm. It has the trans cooler from the GT500, right? It's got the bigger radiator from the GT350.
Yep.
This thing, more parts bin, right?
But all the right parts.
All the right parts. And let's be honest, what this is at the end of the year, the accountant said, man, we've got too many diff coolers, we've got too many oil coolers.
We got to get rid of some of these.
Get rid of this stuff.
Hey, engineers, see what you can do.
And some engineers said, I'm making the car I want, and this is what it is. Because 480 horsepower, by the way, also has the intake manifold from the GT350, which is how I can make that 20 extra horsepower. That's enough.
Yep.
The Shelby's too much. Right. It really is. It's a Hellcat with manners. It's too much for the real world. This is a really good sweet spot. And all these fluids don't overheat. And so as you are getting fatigued as a driver, the car is never giving up.
You're not going to wear this car out. If you're on a back road trying to boogie, you're fine. If you're trying to track it, it's going to hold up for most of your stints. Right. And a lot of sports cars that are entry level do have cooling problems.
Absolutely. I'm not going to call anyone out, but Nissan 370Z.
What is this car's hipster score? 3, 2, 1, 4.
3.
Okay,
not
3.
too far off on that.
Not too far off. I feel like I'm maybe rating this a little too high because it is obnoxious, loud pony car.
Well, hang on, but the reason why I didn't kill it for that
probably the same reasons I give it a 4. Go ahead.
Probably the same reasons.
Yeah.
It can be quiet when it needs to. It can be smooth when it needs to.
Yeah.
And it's retro enough that there will be at least one hipster that goes, that's kind of cool. It's kind of retro cool.
Exactly. So
and CarPlay.
Yeah, you get Apple CarPlay. That's number one. You have to have.
You got to have that. Well, not being wrapped in CarPlay, that's 2.
It's loud, but it's got quiet mode for your neighbors to be mindful of your fellow humanity.
Which actually is quiet, by the way.
And it really is. It's like 72 decibels or something like that. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And then the retro styling, I think, is going to get it some hipster points, but not enough to get it past that halfway mark of 5. So keep it just under that. Who's this car for?
It's for 2 people.
Okay.
As spec'd, it's for the Corvette guy that isn't a GM person.
Okay.
Because it's 60 grand. It's kind of in that territory.
It's a good cruiser.
But it's 20 grand less realistically than a C8 is today. It's got some specialness. It's got some retro vibe, so it will work in the old man club.
Oh, absolutely. This is in the old man club.
At the Cars and Coffee with the vintage cars, it can hang out in that territory.
It can.
But if you get the handling pack, it is now the track rack car.
Oh, it is.
And it is the Voodoo 350 GT that I would own for a decade.
Okay.
And the reason why is the Voodoo is such a bespoke, flat plane crank, a little bit of concern with oiling and longevity. I don't have any stress with the Coyote.
Yeah, it's a little more tried and true.
A little more tried and true, a little more straightforward, a little less stress. Good banger all-around car.
That's fair.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, well, with that, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.
Yep.
Check us out at BrakeCheckShow.com.
And if you're interested in time travel, get a Coyote.
There you go.
See you next time.
See ya. See you in the future.